Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's live streaming, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Rumble. We have with us our good friend, Marwa Osman from Lebanon. Today, as I was doing my research, what am I going to speak about? And I noticed that Israel has escalated immensely against Lebanon, and they are sending maps and regions telling the people to evacuate, to bomb these areas in southern Lebanon. Of course, the claim is already there. It's scripted. Those are Hezbollah warehouses. Those are Hezbollah headquarters. And the people, the civilians, have to evacuate their homes. And Israelis are carpet bombing the villages. Marwa, thank you for being with us. I know it is those are sad days again in Lebanon, so I really appreciate that you joining us because I trust your assessment on the situation. I've been following the ceasefire agreement, alleged ceasefire agreement between Lebanon and Israel, and it seems that the ceasefire agreement is only one-sided, which is Hezbollah abides by it. This is me objectively speaking, and then Israel has conducted hundreds, if not thousands of airstrikes and strikes against Lebanese villages, including civilian targets and drone attacks against civilian cars in southern Lebanon. What has changed today, Marwa? Why Israel decided to escalate in Lebanon for over 1 year? I haven't seen them publishing maps like this, telling the people to evacuate entire neighborhoods and villages.
First of all, thank you for having me on your show, Kevork, as always, and thank you for everything that you do. You truly just shine light on where it really matters. Let us begin by it's nothing new. The war hasn't stopped. There was a ceasefire that was signed in November 27, 2024, but the cease was from Lebanon and the fire kept raining from Israel. But it's not been a year. No, the last one was on the eve of the Eid this year. If you remember, it was Eid al-Fitr just after Ramadan, and people were ready to celebrate the first Eid after the war and after losing a lot of loved ones and their homes, basically. And it was chaotic because it gave a map for 4 different sites in Beirut suburbs and Dahya. But now what's happening, what the variable that actually changed is that, on August 5, there was a signatory at the Lebanese Council of Ministers. They signed a decision, made it into a policy. I'm sorry, I lost electricity. A policy that says that the government is going with the leadership of the army in Lebanon is going to disarm the resistance in the southern part of Lebanon. Let me just, electricity is back. I'm sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to say hello to Nick for joining our stream. Welcome, Habibi. Welcome, my friend.
So so what happened is on August 5th of this year, the government, the Council of Cabinet or the Cabinet or the Council of Ministers decided that they want to disarm. It was a big issue. But 1 month later, on September 4th, this was lowered down. Like it took almost a month for them to realize that it's going to be near impossible because the commander-in-chief of the Lebanese army visited everyone in the Lebanese authority, in the government, in the presidency, and told them, you're not going to ask me to fire at Lebanese citizens, no matter what your decision is. So it was a very patriotic, a very important decision taken by the head of the army, Haikal. That because honestly, if it were someone else who is deeply under the patronage of the United States of America, he might have started a civil war in Lebanon. But he was very, I'll say, he was aware of how risky and dangerous this policy would be if it is implemented. So it was they just. They took a step backward. They decided that we're not going to be able to do it. And that's why we saw a lot of visits from Barak and from Ortekis. And we started hearing a lot of upping the ante with the threats coming especially from Barak. If you remember that piece that he wrote, and we discussed it, that piece in specific, and what it means for Lebanon, and what he means by saying either follow suit of what Syria did, or Israel will escalate, Israel will do this and that, and it might even escalate into a civil war, which will not allow the elections to be held in due time. So what happened in specific, especially in the past 2 weeks, was that the Lebanese government gave back word after 8 to 9 months of it being born. And after, since August, so it's September, October, November, so 4 months after they supposedly made an announcement that it's going to be a policy for the government to disarm the resistance, they gave back word to the United States of America saying that it's not going to work. We're not going to be able to do it. And we also started hearing some in the hallways of the presidential palace that the president might be thinking about having a one-on-one meeting with the Israelis, meaning to cancel any intermediaries, meaning basically normalization with Zionist Israel, to sit down and start talking about a new agreement with the Israelis. Hence, what we saw this morning, 10 a.m. this morning, the Lebanese resistance Hezbollah released a letter. It called it an open letter to the presidency. It basically it addressed the president, the parliament speaker, and the prime minister, and the public in Lebanon, saying that any agreement, any new agreement with Zionist Israel is absolutely refused, and we refuse to implement what the Americans want, because now the Israelis are saying, okay, we can implement the American paper for Lebanon, which is to actually apply the 1701 agreement if all of Lebanon is disarmed. So Hezbollah was like, no, wait a second. We agreed upon 1701, and they stated the terms of 1701, which Israel obviously broke. And by the way, we have now surpassed 7,000 violations, 7,000 violations by Zionist Israel, whether in land, air, or sea, against Lebanon since October 27, 2024, since the announcing of the ceasefire. So after that statement where Hezbollah said, we are a resistance, we will remain true to the vow that we gave our people, that we will protect our people, we will reserve our land, and we will not allow Zionist Israel to continue its aggression, and we uphold the government to actually be responsible enough to protect the people, because 5 days ago, or last week to be very specific, the president called on the commander of the army, Kevork, and he asked him to reciprocate against Zionist Israel. It was the first time ever in his term where he actually calls on the army, the Lebanese army forces, and tells them that Israel is aggressing, you need to protect Lebanon. All of a sudden, the president that was put in the position of kings by the pro-American Lebanese political figures and media figures, all of a sudden, the president became a traitor, and he is putting the army at risk. I'm sorry, but no, what are the army? Is this a fashion show, or is this like an army for soldiers to that actually vow to protect and serve their
What's
country?
the job
I
of
mean,
the army, basically, is to
and how
protect the
dare
sovereignty
they,
of the
Kevork?
country.
They've been moaning. They've been moaning since 2000. They've been moaning since the liberation of South Lebanon that there's no more a reason for the resistance, and that the resistance should give its arms to the army, and the army would protect us. And when the president says, I'm sending the army to protect my people, all of a sudden it's dangerous for the army, and it's a treacherous call by the president. So it's like literally they want us to submit. They want us to smile and throw roses at Zionist Israel as it aggresses against us, as it throws bombs across not only the southern part of Lebanon, all of Lebanon, because during the 66-day war in 2024, all of Lebanon was being bombed. Even Batroun, even Akkar, even Tripoli, even Jounieh and Jbel were being bombed by Zionist Israel. So it's no longer only confined to the southern part of Lebanon. So these are the changes. Directly after 10 a.m. this morning, Kibor, after the statement, the open letter by Hezbollah, Channel 12 in Zionist Israel said openly that the cabinet is meeting and they are deciding on what to hit, not whether or not to hit Lebanon, what to hit in Lebanon. And they decided, obviously, as per the spokesperson of the IOF, Avichai Adrei, to drop maps of certain areas in South Lebanon and start bombing. And these areas are all civilian areas. And if you look at the map, people who are living there, they all tell you this is the mosque of the village. This is the elementary school of the village. This is that and that. And one of them, which is dark humor, but one of them, one of the circles actually has a battalion for the Lebanese army. So now the Lebanese army, and all of that is happening. And the ministry, the cabinet, the council of ministers in Lebanon was convened to put a map to disarm the resistance and give those demands and
Oh, man.
to be applied by the Lebanese army.
Hmm.
All the while, Israel is dropping maps for Lebanese army brigade posts and entire physical presence for the Lebanese army would have to leave their positions now because Zionist Israel decided to bomb their positions, which are outside the southern Litani zone, which is
Yes.
inside the the northern Litani zone, which means even if Zionist Israel wants to use the pretext of Hezbollah weapons, it cannot because it's outside the agreement.
Yes.
But when has Israel really abided by any law? I mean, look
Yeah.
at how Israel literally dropped horse manure on international law over the past 2 years with the genocide inside of Gaza, with taking almost 700 squared kilometers of southern Syria without
Mhm.
even Syria throwing as much of a shoe at Zionist Israel. So that's the Israel that we're talking about. We know that they will not abide by anything, but this is a serious escalation. And after the open letter sent by Hezbollah this morning, I don't think that Hezbollah will remain abiding by the ceasefire or will just stay silent towards this kind of aggression that's happening. Because we were talking before we started, Kevork, Zionist Israel is uh, يعني, they are adamant on not allowing the civilians to return home or to reconstruct what was damaged through the war, because up until now what they have managed to bomb, especially over the past 4 months and right now as we speak, what they're bombing is majorly companies and shops and civilian inhabited areas that have to do with construction,
Hmm.
bricks, iron, you name it. Anything that has to do with cement or reconstruction is being bombed just to push the Southerners into a new reality where they are not only not allowed to go back home, they're not allowed to fix what Zionist Israel broke. So it
Yes.
is, yes, some sort of an escalation, but it really never ended. The war is still just ongoing, but it's ongoing as per the clock of Netanyahu.
Hmm. Guys, before I continue with Mavo, I just want to respond to two comments, one of which is asking about Richard Medhurst. You guys are telling me that yesterday he had a court hearing and since then he disappeared or he hasn't posted anything. I didn't know that he had a court hearing yesterday. I will text him today and I will privately and I will ask him how is he doing and I will keep you updated tomorrow if he's doing fine or not. And secondly, Nick and all the team, those who are watching us and everybody, of course, are welcome. But I'm just mentioning now Nick because you guys are managing also a great YouTube channel on the Revolutionary Blackout Network. And I think you guys inviting me again on your channel will trigger some hot-headed people who would be very unhappy for inviting a far-right person to your socialist YouTube channel instead of inviting the revolutionary figures like some people talk about themselves
Oh
that
my
they're
God.
revolutionary figures.
That was truly
So
funny. That was
I just
truly funny.
I just
Like
want to bite my finger.
like people who were born just yesterday into social media and who hide behind posts without even mentioning themselves,
Yeah.
calling Kevork Almassian a far right who have never lived in Syria. Please, who have
Syria.
never lived in Syria. La hawla Allah.
When I was covering the Syrian war inside Syria, when we went to the Yarmouk camp, when we went to Aleppo, when we went to Damascus, to Ghouta, these people were thousands of kilometers away from Syria. But
Literally, when
anyways,
members of your family were kidnapped by terrorists, where were these empty-headed people? Seriously, it's so insulting, it's funny.
yeah, it is insulting and it is funny at the same time, unfortunately. Marwa, I want a little bit. I'm angry when I see what is going on in the region. I'm frustrated because I don't want to die in 40, 50 years seeing the region sunk into the hands of the imperialists who care about nothing but robbing us and sucking our economies dry, subjugating the people, humiliating them, subjugating them. And I myself, I come from a position of someone who I want for the people to prosper, and I want for the people to have their own independent approach for life. How do they like to dress? How do they like to live? Which religion they should follow, and also which type of political system fits them. And most importantly, I would like to see a region which can thrive through economic integration among the people of the region. That's why before the Syrian war, or also during the war on Syria, I always advocated for federalism, but among the people of the region, instead of dividing Syria into 4 to 5 cantons, and Lebanon is already being divided on sectarian and religious lines, we should create economies that bring mutual prosperity for everyone, and this decreases the sectarian tensions, this decreases all the sensitivities among the people, and this would bring definitely a great prosperity for the people. We're talking about scientific prosperity, we're talking about the welfare of the people, and also the economic prosperity, right? So I wanted for the people to export instead of importing. Now, when I see the region as divided as it is, when I see Syria is gone, I feel in myself that people really underestimate the severity of losing Syria and think this is just like any other setback that the region has received in the past 60 to 70 years. I know that Israel during the Six-Day War occupied large swaths of territories. I know that even after 73, the Arabic countries couldn't liberate all the territories that they aspired. And I know that some of the very few victories against Israel was in Lebanon, for example, in 2000 and in 2006. But when I'm seeing nowadays the map of geopolitics in the Middle East, I come to the conclusion that if Syria is gone for at least 10 to 20 years, and they are trying to keep the country in the hands of this Takfiris of Jolani because he wants to normalize ties with Israel, he presented himself as someone who could also fight against Hezbollah because he said to Israel, we have mutual enemies. Who are the mutual enemies? It doesn't take a philosopher to understand that the mutual enemies are Iran and Hezbollah in this case, right? And he has a 40,000 manpower here. And you know these people in the past 10 years, they are not some organized army. They are arch enemies. They are terrorists. They are just chaotic, brainless people. And you shouldn't, and we shouldn't underestimate tens of thousands of chaotic terrorists in big numbers. This is what I'm trying to say.
We saw what they did in the coastal side of Syria and in Sweden. Yeah. We saw what they were able to do.
Yeah, so you have a situation in Syria where it is already that you have many foreign powers, foreign occupation powers. Now the US is going to build a base for itself or presence in Damascus. And at the same time, you have terrorists in power and the minorities. And I'm sad to call them minorities because this is how it is being addressed nowadays. Many minorities in Syria say that we are being slaughtered by these terrorists, and we find no other solution but to call for international help for us to protect ourselves, because Alawites, for example, in the coast, nobody gives them weapons to fight back or to resist the massacres. The Druze in Sweden, Israel came and intervened and presented itself as their savior. The Kurds in the eastern shore of the Euphrates, Americans are protecting them. It looks to me the region is so divided nowadays among the people themselves, in political lines, sectarian lines, ethnic lines. This is the worst Middle East that I have seen since the independence of these countries. Like, when I see all this situation, plus the genocide in Gaza has happened. The people think genocide is like killing 2 million people. No, they destroyed the Palestinian people in part or in whole. They destroyed their past, their present, and their future. And now their future is dependent on the economic help of outside powers, including possible troops underground from different countries. So when I see all these things, I feel pessimistic, but I don't want to give pessimistic analysis. So some people say that I'm coming from a very pessimistic lens, and this is emotional approach, and it's not correct. And I'm not trying to say like, please tell them they're wrong. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you, because I think that the 40 years of preparation in the past decades of the regional powers to create a region that is capable of challenging at least the American dominance has failed for now.
Yeah.
So you will need another probably 40 to 50 years to prepare a different project. But as long as these projects are met with sectarian hatred and fanaticism in the region, this is not going to succeed, which means we need to start from the people. If you can't reform the people and reform what is here, then you will see people in Syria celebrating their demise in the streets. Like, have you seen people go to the streets and celebrate the death of their nation? Many Syrians went to the streets. Right now, yes, many people say we regret it, but when it happened, they celebrated it. When the
Well, I think that
bombarding
you can think about it that way. It took them 1 year to regret it. It's most probably going to take them another 10 years to actively oppose it on the ground. So no, my friend, you're not being pessimistic when you say 30 to 40 years that I'm going to see. First of all, you're going to see it in a couple of years. It's not going to be in 30 or 40 years, the demise of this region. And I say it again while I smile, because as I was telling you, also that if you see a society making jokes, dark jokes about the catastrophic conditions that it's living in, is because they see properly, they fully envision what is happening and what is about to happen, which is why when you see all of these voices that suddenly came to power with blue ticks on Twitter, for example, who are adamant on showing that Julani is now a washed up star and his past is just in the past. And now they're speaking about a new constitution and elections and how Syria will be prosperous and how, come on. After the war of the Arabs in 1967 and 1970s as well, which Arab nation was prosperous that actually was put in position of peace that never really occurred with Zionists? It's Jordan, Egypt. Look at Egypt, for example. Sudan, it normalized its ties with Zionist Israel, and from that point on, it was a total wreck of a country. It's no longer a country. And the Syrians, for example, like Julani, they keep putting in their sentences that like Syria aspires to become a new Qatar or a new Dubai or a new... They don't even fathom the idea that all of these Gulf regimes can poof with one magical word from America. I mean, who could have ever imagined that Israel will violate Qatari airspace and bomb Doha, for example? They don't care. They can bomb Riyadh. They can go to Mecca and bomb it, because they have done even worse than that by killing these Palestinians over the past 2 years. 75 years of ethnic cleansing and then a genocide over the past 2 years, and no one moved a muscle. And I'm speaking about the Arab world. I'm not speaking about the world. No, it's I'm hopeless about it. I don't have any more hope of what can come from a world, especially when you have these people who come from a postmodern society telling you, but we are protesting, we are banging with bottles on. Like, seriously, like, I don't care anymore. I like whatever you're gonna do, it's not gonna affect me as long as you're not changing the regime in your country that is effectively ethnically cleansing my country. Whether you sleep in the streets screaming out of your mind, free Palestine, it's not going to be free, because the people that you are banging with, they put just scores in there. They literally just close their ears, and they are building economic ties with Israel, building economic ties with the regimes in the Gulf, and they are manufacturing a new authority in Syria, for example, that is soaked in blood. that is soaked in blood. They literally have photos of them on their websites with bounties for their heads that they are now willing to erase and welcome in the White House only because they said, yes, master, I will be a very obedient slave under the
A
feet
good
of
boy.
Netanyahu.
A good
So
boy.
exactly. So when you look at it, what you explained, and then you look at what is happening and how much fragmentation there is in our communities at the moment, not only our states, inside of our communities, how much fragmentation there exists, you can understand fully that what Condoleezza Rice was saying in 2006 about the birth of a new Middle East is exactly what we are witnessing right now. We are witnessing the birth of the bastard child of Zionist Israel with the Persian Gulf Arab states. This is what's being birthed in the Middle East. And this bastard child is being birthed into an area that has been literally looted. Syria, which was once self-sufficient, cannot feed its own people. What was once selling its crude oil with a very reasonable price with zero external debt is now a failed state with its resources completely looted. Lebanon was never a state to be a failed state to begin with. يعني it's funny to hear Thomas Barak
And I
saying that
don't.
Lebanon is a failed state. يعني تقبر قلبي. يعني we don't have electricity, we don't have water. The biggest Ponzi scheme in the world happened in our banking system at the hands of a governor of the central bank state, put in place by Zionists, by America, who was given awards, by the way. Riyad Salemi was being given awards by the Treasury in America just a year before the crisis in Lebanon. And now, after they put him in jail, they brought an American Lebanese to be the governor of the central bank, who's imposing new sanctions on humans, on civilians, on shops, on institutions that are ready to give loans for the people to start reconstruction. This is what the real role of the new governor of the Banque du Liban in Lebanon is, the central bank in Lebanon. So we're speaking at a micromanagement level. America and Zionist Israel were doing some sort of a macro management during the global war on Syria, which allowed Hezbollah and the allies of the Syrian Arab army at some point to liberate many swaths of land, to liberate a lot of the governorates and to rid Damascus of the terrorism that was threatening it. But at a point of weakness, after 14 years of siege and economic, basically economic homicide against the people in Syria, where to a point that the government cannot function anymore under the crippling economic sanctions. And after a catastrophic operation that took out in Lebanon all of the leadership that was once one of the most important leadership that brought about the liberation and protection of Lebanon, and also the protection of some parts of Syria. And after the assassination of the Iranian president Raisi, which began actually before all of this happened in our region. And then later on, the attack against Iran on several parts of this world before actually attacking Iran, they physically and mentally broke the axis of resistance at a very important point in time where they should have shown their unity for real. But they played it very well. Netanyahu knew what he was saying in 2022 when he held at the UNGA the map of Greater Israel. The man knew what he was saying, and he was adamant on implementing it, which is why he made sure to take advantage of what happened on October 7, because it was not as big as Netanyahu later on made it to be. He didn't like the fact that only 200 military soldiers were killed in the October 7 attack. So he directed the Hannibal directive against his own people to basically just to inflate the number of deceased and to take advantage of it. But he always knew what's going on. He always knew that he just needed the right chance, the right time to begin this greater Israel project once and for all, and to cripple any sign of resistance in the region. Hence why when we say that Syria was the hardest hit that we got, we are not being emotional about it, because logistically speaking and strategically speaking, Syria was the nation that was the only sovereign nation remaining in the face of Zionist Israel, and that actually had an army that was capable of defending not only Syria, but also Syria's interests in the region, which amount to parts of Lebanon, even parts of Jordan, because the now northern part of Jordan is at risk at any time because of the terrorists. I keep speaking with my friends in Jordan, and they say they are on high alert, and they have never seen such a threat against their own national security as has been the case over the past year, ever since the regime fell in Syria, and also the national security of Iraq as well. Now,
Yes.
Looking at all of this from afar, people can say that what we are talking about might sound a bit pessimistic, but no. We are the people living through this on an hourly basis, on a minute-to-minute basis. I was just speaking this morning with a friend, and everyone, when they see you, they keep asking you, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is it going to be a war again? And I needed to explain that we never left the war to begin with. War remains, but on different escalatory basis, meaning that today we saw Zionist Israel escalating in South Lebanon. Maybe they're going to take a break for 2 weeks and then come after Beirut again. Then they take like a break for 2 weeks and then go after Syria again, because what the media is not showing the people at the moment is not only that Zionist Israel took swaths of land in Syria, but they are incarcerating and detaining Syrian nationals, civilians, in Qunaitra and in other parts of southern Syria. Even the so-called Amn al-Am, the general security, meaning the so-called authority of al-Julani, there are videos of them being tied up with hands behind their backs, laying on the ground, because Zionist Israel is expecting them. The soldiers are taking them into captivity, as incarcerating them, because
Where is their bravery? Where is their bravery when you need them? Why are they so brave on unarmed civilians and going home to home and killing civilians basically, and raping women, which happened so many times, especially in Sweda, and all the kidnappings of Syrian Alawite women from the Syrian coastal cities? When it comes to Israel, they are like, I can't even call them rabbits. At least rabbits run away. Those people do not even run away. They just surrender to the Israelis, and they're being humiliated on video in Quneitra. I watched that video.
These videos are very important, because it is very vital that those who really believe, because not everyone is a mercenary, Kevork. Not everyone is doing that job in Syria for the money. There are people who really followed Julani as sincere followers, which is why we saw the breakage that we saw in Idlib and in Halab, where some fighters now say that their arch enemy is Julani and his thugs, because they saw that everything that they believed in at one point turned out to be a big lie. They also saw that they were not even allowed to stage protests in support of Gaza, despite the fact that at least until the second half of 2024, Idlib saw a lot of protests, pro-Palestinian protests, saying that we condemn Bashar al-Assad for not opening the front against Zionist Israel. And then when they took over, without a bullet being fired, they took over because there was a major deal that happened and allowed them to just drive their Toyotas up to Damascus, because no way Damascus would fall in less than 7 hours, man. It's obviously a deal. So when they drove up to Damascus without firing one bullet, took over the presidential palace, despite the fact that Zionist Israel took its F-35s and bombed the presidential palace, bombed the Ministry of Defense in the famous square, Sahat al-Umayyin, the Umayyad Square, and in the heart of Damascus, you saw their leader, quote unquote, giving a speech, giving that speech in Ankara, on the steps of Ankara, not even in Damascus. He stood with the Turkish flag behind him, saying that this is a message to Israel, you are not our enemy. Actually, we share the enemy, but we would like it if you don't escalate. Sure. Where did all that macho talk about liberating Palestine go? Sure. Abu Muhammad, what
Abu
happened?
Muhammad.
Sure. Are you now busy with your lovely Latifa wife's certificate, who
Yeah,
didn't even go to
this is what
university,
he's
but
doing.
actually
This is
gets
what
it?
this is what he's doing basically. U.S. military to establish presence in Damascus airbase. This is sources to Reuters.
If this
The-
doesn't happen, Kevork, there would be something wrong happening. And if America doesn't take advantage of what is going right now on the ground and starts building its military bases, it wouldn't be the America that we know. And
yes.
Julani is the main man for them. And
Yeah.
look, I don't care if people hear us anymore. I don't care if people believe our view of what's going on anymore. They're going to feel it.
Mm.
Yeah, they don't need to listen to us anymore. They can feel it soon. But what broke my heart at some point, because now it doesn't really matter anymore. And I was telling you that nothing really matters
Mm.
anymore, because when one loses one's dignity, nothing matters anymore. But what once broke my heart was that we literally fought as a unified front. Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran. We once fought as a unified front and we won, which means that the experience says that if we actually unify our fronts, we can take down our enemy. But we decided that it's not worth it. We decided that watching fathers in Gaza carrying their babies, their dismembered babies in plastic bags, is not worth it. We decided that 2.5 million humans suffering is not worth it. We decided that 35,000 men, women, and children in the coastal part of Syria being butchered and running in the fields at night is not worth it. We decided that the women being raped in Suwaida is not worth it. And people decided that 4,000 civilians being used as a ploy for terrorism in Lebanon and the biggest terrorist attack in history with the Pagers attack is not worth it. Yossi Saral speaking on Western media that Israel not only infiltrated Lebanon with PETN explosive with the Pagers attack, that it also infiltrated other countries, even allied countries with PETN that they can use at any time, is not worth it.
Yes.
Khalas, something happened to the people where they are now literal sheep. Welcome to 1984 in actuality. In reality, yani what was once a novel is now the reality that we live in. And when
Yes.
you get people in your face, especially people who have never even lived for one consecutive month or like 10 consecutive days or
Mm.
one specific month in an area in Syria or Lebanon or Palestine, come at your face and tell you you're being pessimistic, please tell them that Marwa Osman spits in your face and tells you you are most welcome to come.
Mm.
She will actually give you a room in her destroyed house in South Lebanon. How about you come, live there, and see it for yourself and see what Zionist Israel is capable of doing only because people like them, those who call us pessimistics, people like them refuse to acknowledge that it is their regimes and it is their tax money that is creating these horrible, catastrophic events in the region and that will come back to bite them. Yani, they don't understand, especially people in Europe. Wallah al-Azim, I don't understand. Trump came to power vowing that he will end the war on Ukraine and that he will bring peace, right? Now he's vowing to bring Tau missiles to Ukraine. What will happen when Ukraine will use Tau missiles? What will happen when the NATO keeps knocking at the bear's house? What will happen? Yani what missiles will start to land? Yani Europe will no longer be the Europe that we know. Do you think that we, because we lived through this, we want other people to live through it? They don't
Yeah.
understand that we don't want to see misery anywhere, not in our lands, not in their land, but they cannot
100%.
understand. And at one
100%.
point, I was speaking with my husband, and I told him, sometimes war is important to put things into perspective. But what I never thought would happen was people in war celebrating and living like they are, wallahi, like they are like high. Yani your country, as a Syrian, your country is being bitten down by Israel in the south, Turkey in the north, and America in the east. And you're dancing in the streets because you took down a dictator. But sorry, what do you call a self-appointed president? What is
Mhm.
he? What, a prophet? He's a
Mhm.
dictator.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And you keep saying, oh, you don't know what happened. And what do I don't know? I've been visiting Syria for the past 15 years. What
Marwa,
did I not see? What did
if you
I not
could,
see?
if you could convince people, enough people, and you know that there are millions of people believe that Hezbollah went to Syria to kill children and rape Sunni women. This is how they say. If you could if you could make millions of people believe that Hezbollah went to Syria because this is a war against the Sunni world, and which means later you can capitalize on it after October 7th so that you turn all these people against Hezbollah. Meanwhile, people are celebrating Hamas and say oh, everything Hamas did is great, October 7 is amazing, and they mourn the death of their leadership. But when it comes to Hezbollah, they celebrate the death of the leadership of Hezbollah. They celebrate the regime change in Syria. Like it is some sort of mental.
Yes.
It's a mental illness. It's a mental illness that you could see millions and millions of people in our region think this way. Plus, because you mentioned Europe, I would also extend this to the American people because most people watching our channel are from the United States. I would like to say something because remember, guys, in 2011, this was a decision made by the planners in Washington to start the regime change war in Syria, which lasted 14 years and killed over 600,000 people. So
And they
you,
told us about it in 2001.
you
They told us in 2001 that there will be an invasion of multiple countries starting when it started in 2003 in Iraq, and it kicked off. They told us it's not going to end unless we take down 7 countries. Now the
yeah,
remaining country is Iran,
yeah. So guys,
because it was Syria and but now it's Iran.
so before Syria, you know, the occupation of Iraq, and we know hundreds of thousands were victims of this war. And before that, the sanctions killed 500,000 children in Iraq, the invasion of Afghanistan, the partition of Sudan, which is now you see that there is genocide ongoing also in Sudan, the several times invasions of Lebanon, and the genocide in Gaza. So what I'm trying to say here is that you also have a responsibility. Like we have been shouting and yelling very loud in the past decade, at least Marwa will come back. It's just a technical issue. We were very active in the past decade telling you guys, this is your government doing this to Syria, right? And then because of the passive attitude of the people in the United States, I'm not like solely blaming you, but those are your politicians. Those are not our politicians. Those are your officials, elected officials, not our elected officials, who start and plan and execute such plans in our region, right? So unless there is a serious change in the US, in the economic system of the US, which profits on wars, then we will be the victims forever. And you guys will be the economic victims of this system, which is already swallowing you. So
Yeah.
the last question, Marwa, this is something about the US. Let's zoom out a little bit. And you're watching all the narrative shift in the US. It seems to
Yeah.
me that there is no way back from the perception that Israel is our best ally and we should support it as much as possible. This seems changing in the US, and this is coming from the right. You see, the America First people in the United States are not only questioning, they are seriously challenging the Israeli influence over American politics. They are white nationalists, probably. They are America First, probably. I don't care. I don't
Look,
care if white
Kevork,
nationalists.
they can be cults for all I care. They
Yeah,
can be cults. But even if you are part of a cult in the United States of America and you die in the emergency room because you don't have cover, you don't have insurance, you don't have the support of your government that takes 52% of your salary in taxes and does not give you free healthcare, does not give you a quality education, does not give you good roads. Have you ever really took a deep dive into how the roads and the highways in America are built and how they are never maintained? When they take that much money and they don't give you good transportation, when they take that much money off you, and then they send your kids, your daughters and your sons to die across oceans and seas, and then you open your eyes and you see how China within 30 years was able to completely change into a postmodern world with free healthcare and free education and transport systems that go as fast as 400 kilometers per hour, as fast as a plane, while you cannot even pay for your own transport to get to work, and you live paycheck to paycheck. And then you see that your government is paying, I think this year it was set at $9 billion for military expenditure in the US. I'm not sure of the number, but it is a
Trillion,
huge
almost
number.
almost $1 trillion.
Brilliant. Oh my God. Just for military expenditure, while your child cannot actually get proper proper medical aid, and while the Medicare, the aid, the insurance that is given is being taken from millions of people, especially people who are either unable, they have disabilities, they are veterans, they are elderly. When you see that happening in your community, it doesn't matter if you are a Satanist, not only a cultist. You will
Yeah, we
see
don't
that
care.
and you'll recognize that what's happening is unfair, it's unjust, and why on earth should I care about a colonial entity 10,000 kilometers or at least 9,000 miles away from where I live, where we keep paying them money to not only to survive, but also to bring in more settlers and colonialists. Because if you are a Jew or you are a convert to Judaism and you want to return to the stolen land of Palestine, you get paid, you get a house, you get paid for at least a year or two until you find a job. And that's all coming out of the pocket of Americans. So when they see that, it doesn't matter what their background is or what their political affiliation is. You will just stand still and say, hey, I can't feed my child right here in the United States. And you're taking that money and giving it to Israel. And how come the people that I get to choose from are always people who they start their speech with, I support the state of Israel?
Yeah. Guys, I have to answer a few questions. Do you think the Emir of Qatar, that is sitting a few meters from the biggest American base in the world, actually is independent and supports Palestine and the access with his Al Jazeera? Those people who believe that Qatar supports the Palestinians, I have a very big bridge here outside my apartment to sell them. Also, I have three mRNA jabs here to inject you with. I think you will really, if you believe that, I have a lots of things to sell you. And the other thing that I wanted to to comment on there was like sometimes I'm really fascinated by how many people think that Al Jazeera is pro-resistance in the region. And yeah, Mamdani can F himself.
Not
He
you
and
too.
his
Not you too, Kevork. Don't.
Mamdani.
People were celebrating in Lebanon. Literally, you know how our Arab world, especially Lebanon and Syria, they love to put out placards, like literal yaftat in the streets. So we had that in Lebanon, celebrating Mamdani. Jesus, I can't understand the people. Seriously.
Look, while we're speaking about the American government and the deep state and how they manipulate people, but if people fall for the same trap over and over again, they deserve
What
what
can
is
you do?
happening to them. How can you not see that this guy is a big grifter and a psyop that they pushed upon your thoughts?
No, please.
Oh,
He
this is
had, like, after he won, the I think was it George Soros's son who posted a photo
yes,
of Mamdani? It
he
was,
did.
oh my God, oh my God.
And
Do you, like, how on earth would a 33-year-old man, as bright as he is, be able to compete without much needed fund and money? And where would that money come from? Please.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he's against the billionaires, but not George Soros, it seems, because
No, of
George
course not,
Soros
because
is
there
a
are good
billionaire, right?
billionaires. What are you
This
talking?
is
He's a
the
good billionaire. What are you talking about? He's just a good billionaire who actually funds color revolutions abroad. It's fine. It's
Mhm.
okay.
And by the
I
way,
can't believe. I
why I
can't believe.
said
It's
F.
just like, it's just like I cannot believe that people still believe AOC, Bernie Sanders, Rashida
Uh,
Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar. For the love of God, these are the people who signed during genocide, signed on a permission from Congress to keep on sending weapons to Zionist Israel. خلاص بقى.
Yeah, and people who say they are with the resistance, they are like those are not normal people. Those are serious talking heads. They are celebrating Mamdani. Sorry, fuck F Mamdani and F his wife, because she supported these Jolani thugs in Syria for 13 years. And then when the Jolani thugs took over and started killing people and women as well, she says
She went
nothing now
silent.
against the atrocities.
No,
All of a sudden silent. So
she
sorry, I'm
went
not
silent.
buying it. Anyone who is
No.
part of the Democratic Party or part of the two uni-party system, they have compromised. They have
Yeah.
compromised. It's impossible for me to believe
It's
somebody
a,
is taking.
look, it's a big circus. The circus of democracy in the US, when you can't even be campaigning if you're not
Yeah,
red or blue. It's
yeah,
honestly, what
yeah,
democracy are you talking about? What kind of
yeah,
democracy where now Trump is paying his own self $200 million as an emotional stress support after
yeah,
the two failed, they tried to take him out of power. I don't know what the word is, to impeach, two failed impeachments.
mm,
He's now basically ordering the Treasury to pay him. And guess who signs on that? It's his signature. He needs his signature. Look at the democracy, his signature and the signature of the person that he put in the highest court, who
mm,
happened to be the same lawyer who defended him in the cases of corruption. This is what America is. And if Americans don't fathom the idea that they are just pawns in the hand of billionaires in the US who will never stop funding wars, because wars will fund their money back to them. By creating more wars, you create more work for the weapon industry,
industry.
for the industrial complex of the military industrial complex. If they don't wake up to that, they will never be able to live in a free world. Might as well just live, not only in a free world, be able to live, literally find
Yeah,
food, shelter, and medicine.
yeah. Just final words, guys. Before we set Marwa free, somebody was telling me, "Why are you against Mamdani? He went against the Zionists."
Ya Allah.
I
Ya
have in
Allah, he
my
went
drawer
against Islam.
another bridge to sell you, because if you think that Mamdani is going to go against the Zionists, and if he's going to do any impactful change when it comes to this foreign policy of the U.S., while he is a Democrat, and
Also, 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 one thing, if I may, before we end, since I'm sitting here and there are at least 17 drones above my head, and we can get bombed at any time. After I lost my house, I lost 8 of my family members, 17 of my students, literally 10,000 people from my community. For the love of God, don't ask me if I support anyone in anything outside the world that I live in. For the love of God, keep it to yourself. Keep me. I want
yeah,
to die in peace. حلوا عنا يا
yeah,
خيي. Leave us in peace. We don't want to know who's getting elected, who's not getting elected. It's all a sham. It's all literally
yeah,
a shit show happening while we die. So why would I care? Mamdani or other
yeah,
Mamdani comes to power. If you're not going to change the essence of your system, if you're not going to block the economic capitalist beast that is being unleashed against you and me, why should I care?
yeah. Yeah, but I will take the advice of our friend and go into construction business from now on. That would be better than being than selling bridges. Let's end this with a little bit laughter, Habibti. I know it is. Those are really sad days, and we are talking about it from a probably people think this is pessimistic, but this is realistic, my friends. And I wanted to have this conversation today with our dear friend Marwa. She lives in Lebanon. She has been reporting from Lebanon, and I trust her judgment. And we had lots of conversation today. Marwa, Habibti, thank you so much for coming again.
Thank
And
you, Kev.
guys,
Stay
thank you
safe,
so
my
much,
dear.
really.
And hopefully, if I'm still alive, I get to see you soon, inshallah.
You have to stay alive. It's an order that you have to stay alive. Okay, that's a promise.
Okay.
I just
Much
stay with
love.
me.
Thank you.
Stay
Okay.
with me. Stay with me. I just want to say thank you very quickly for our old friends who supported this show, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 11 a.m. Eastern American Time, with our dear friend Tarek Jibril Amar. And thank you very much, Red Access, for moderating the live chat. Thank you so much, Habibi. And I will see you tomorrow, guys. Okay? Salam.